Let me adjust my crown. Hello and good day. Let me get rid of my crown now. I'm Danny Gregory, and this is Draw With Me. Although today's special edition I'm calling Draw With We, because we're going to be drawing kings. It's not King Friday. Today's Thursday, but it does look like King Friday. You're right, from Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, but it's not. It doesn't matter. It could be. All that matters is we're going to draw kings. It's what, loud? Way too loud again. Okay, good. How's that? Better? Excellent. Well, hello to all of you. Celeste in the earthquake zone. I didn't know there was an earthquake this morning. We didn't feel it here in Arizona, but I'm glad to hear that you're okay, it sounds like. Timmy, Myrna in Vancouver, I guess, and
hugely worse.
Hugely worse. How's that? Better? Can you hear me less awfully now? Yes? Hello? Hi. Testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing, 1, 2, 3. Welcome to Draw With Me, where the fun never stops. So anyway, yes, Karen, Robert, hi Robert, and thanks again for making that video for me, Robert, and for everybody else who made one for me. I'll talk about that in a minute. So today we're going to draw kings. So we're going to talk about kings. I'll explain why in a minute. Lisa, Chu-Wei-Yu, Tina, and John Cromer. So hopefully the sound is better. Sounds like AM radio, my favorite medium. All right, good. Thank you all for giving me a sound check. Good, excellent. Kosha, nice to see you again. And let's talk about Draw With Me. So I've been thinking, I'm always looking for just things to draw, people to draw. And for a long time, one of my favorite things to do was to draw from old yearbooks that I would buy in the flea market. Lenore Vandenhovel, nice to see you. I hope you're doing well. Vandenhandel, excuse me. I hope that you're doing well in New York. And yearbooks are really interesting to me to draw from because you get pages and pages and pages of photos of people's faces that are kind of the same size. And you can buy them in a flea market or in like Goodwill Salvation Army for just a couple dollars. Nobody wants old yearbooks, honestly, except me and maybe you. But you get all these pages and pages of pictures of people that are just looking kind of similarly, but yet they're all different. And it's a great way to practice drawing. So one of the things that we've done here on Draw With Me is we've also drawn from mugshots, and we've drawn criminals. And again, similar kind of situation where you have a person basically looking at you like I'm looking at you now, and just their head and shoulders, but a great variety, so it's kind of variations on a theme, which to me is one of the more interesting things to draw, particularly when you're drawing people who will never see your drawing, people who you've never seen in real life. So it takes away some of the stresses that can come from doing portraiture, which is, oh my God, this doesn't look anything like the person who I drew. And this kind of mitigates that because some person from a yearbook from the 1930s is almost certainly never going to see your drawing. So that's good. It's also sometimes fun to draw from the newspaper or from a magazine, although these days there's not a lot of fun in newspapers, so I'm kind of avoiding looking at them, let alone drawing them. So then I thought about kings, and that was inspired to some extent by oh, you know what? Before I carry on blathering, let me just put up this reference picture URL. So if you go to bit.ly DWM730, you'll be able to download the pictures we're going to draw from today, if you haven't done it yet. If you have done it yet, it's probably because you're a member of the schoolyard, or you've been texting me, and I've been texting you back. And today I texted you the details of where to get this reference stuff. So anyway, that is where you can get this stuff. But I'll also be putting these pictures up on screen, but they'll be little. This way you'll at least have a bigger one. You can print it out. But yes, so I've been thinking about kings because, among other things, we've been watching a TV show called The Great. I don't know if you've ever seen it. I think it is on Hulu. But it stars Elle Fanning and a bunch of other amazing, amazing actors. But it's basically a kind of sort of a comedy about Catherine the Great. Not the usual thing that you make comedies about, Russian czars and czarinas, but nonetheless, it's a great show. But it's been making me think about kings and the fact that kings ultimately are human beings. I don't know if you've watched The Crown, that series on Netflix. It similarly reminds you that, these people live in a weird environment, but ultimately they're people. And it seems to me that the kings that exist in the world today, and there aren't that many of them, the kings that exist today are pretty mundane. Like, they don't really have the trappings of kings. So I thought it might be interesting just to draw them, just because, you think of royal portraiture through the history of art, right? That's like a trope. But nowadays, kings aren't really out there getting the greatest artists to paint their portraits the way they did hundreds of years ago. But we're going to do it. Why not? Why shouldn't we, the greatest artists of our time, draw some royal heads of the world? So the thing about royalty is there isn't a huge amount of it left in the world. I went and did a bit of research. There's probably like 8 or 10 kings left. There's also a few queens. And I decided today to focus on kings. We could do queens some other time, but today we're going to focus on kings. And really, you got no information? Well, you know what? If DW, that's interesting. Morgan, maybe you could look into that. Sorry, some people are having problems downloading this, but don't worry about it. If you don't have it, I'll put them up there, and you can draw from them there. So yes, so these kings are pretty mundane, and let's treat them the way we've treated yearbook photos and criminals. Okay. So, what it might also be that you didn't put in HTTPS. That might be what it is. So let me just fix this. I'm sorry. I was trying to be, more efficient, but it may just be that you need that. So now, yes, you may need the full URL. Okay. So it might be my fault, Morgan. I apologize for that. All right, so let's go to, I just wanted to show you something else. I'll show it to you here. Okay. So this is my sort of piece of paper that I have by my computer that I'm always writing stuff on. This is my text number, by the way, for those of you who didn't text me yet. It's been really fun. I've got a couple hundred people texting me now, and I text them, and I send stuff out every day, more or less, sending out drawings that I've done, or ideas that I've had, or cool things that I've seen, or just information, news, the kind of stuff you text to your friends. And a lot of them have been texting me back, and we've had a very nice little dialogue. So that is my number. Write it down, put it in your sketchbook, text me, and yes, it's true, it is me. I heard this term, mask hole. Mask hole. Hey, mask hole, put on your mask. And it apparently refers to people who put on a mask but then don't properly cover their nose and mouth. So anyway, but look at this. Do you know what this is? I just got it yesterday. This is my book, How to Draw Without Talent, the first sketchbook school book, and now it's available in Chinese. This is actually the Taiwanese version of it. But yes, it's there. And guess what? Guess who it's dedicated to? Or as it says here in Taiwanese or Chinese, the same thing. So yes, this is dedicated to you. So if you're interested in a little bit of drawing in Chinese, there you go. All right, let's get to that. Let's get some fresh paper in here. Get rid of my noting thing. So yeah, so hopefully you have some paper. Another thing I wanted to point out is that has been really transformative to me is just having a lot of art supplies around me. Even in New York, I didn't really have. In New York, I had various desks and I would move to different places. But here in Phoenix, I have kind of like a pretty sort of established setup. I have this big gray plastic table that we got that folds, that we ordered. And, it's like a little sort of banquet table. And I just have it covered with art supplies. So I have all kinds of art supplies just constantly here available to me. And that has made a huge difference to, I don't know, it's just having the stuff here makes all the difference in the world, because you just sort of sit down and there it is, and you just say, great. So I would strongly urge you to do that, to just have all your stuff around you. It's really good. Okay, so let's put up the first king, and let's see what he has to say for himself. Here we go. This is, do you know who this is? It's not the manager of your local bank. It's not a mid-level account executive at a second-tier ad agency. It's the king of the Netherlands. I'll put my number up here again for those of you who wondered still what it is. Yes, there's my number. So, yes, Cable Claire Van Svach. Excuse me, Cable Claire. It is indeed your king. Kosha, it's your king too. So let's draw him. Let's knock him out. I know, this is kind of an oldish picture. I didn't want the whole beard thing. I didn't want it to look too interesting. This was like an official picture of him, so let's keep it, this is, again, in the theme of kings are people too. Let's draw the king. All hail the king. Oh, I know what I want to do. I'm going to use these I got these new Winsor Newton pigment markers that I'm quite entranced with too, and there are various, I guess there's skin tones. I think that's what this is called, although there's obviously a lot of skin tones that are not included in here, but we'll deal with that on another broadcast. The correctness of art supplies. And give him sort of a pinkish face. Again, thinking about, honestly, Dutch royalty, I'm sure that the history of art is festooned with portraiture of Dutch folks, right? Dutch royalty, certainly. So we're going to draw these quickly. We're not laboring over these things. We haven't been given a royal commission to do official portraiture, so let's just knock these things out and just have fun with it. So yeah, so those are those pigment markers, and now I'm using these Inktense pencils that I'm also quite enamored with, just because they give you amazing colors, and don't feel like you have to draw an incredibly good likeness. Part of the purpose of this is just initial reaction, even if you're making him, like I am, look like a completely different person. That's one of the things about doing these kinds of, like finding these sort of resources for doing lots of portraits is, that you're using these faces that are in your reference. It depends on your point of view, but my point of view is I just want to use them as a starting point for mucking around with art supplies. I'm not really, terribly concerned about how good they look. In this case, it's just sort of like a big square-headed white guy is what he means to me. That's what your king means to me. So, so feel free to insult him, within reason. Don't be offensive, but we're not too concerned about likeness. You'll see as we're going to do some other kings who have a bit more of the royalty stuff around them, have a bit more gear on them, more royal gear like medals and sashes and stuff like that. So, but this guy is just in a business suit. So let's keep it normal, keep it clean. Am I going back to New York? I don't know what his name is. Maybe some of you Dutch folk can tell us what the name of the king is? My research didn't go that deeply. I don't know actually very much about him at all. And I'm sure he's a fascinating and very nice man. But yeah, my guy really doesn't look like the king at all, does he? But he does look like a particular person. I think that's what I like is this looks like an actual person. It may not be that person, but it's a person. As opposed to sort of like a cartoon or like, oh yeah, this is the way I draw guys. It's more like, yeah, this is actually that guy. What's his name? Willem Alexander. There we go. Willem, this is... All right. What's up with this marker? Oh, good. So, yeah. All right. We'll come back to him. We're not done with him. Maybe we can make him look a little bit more like Willem Alexander, but maybe not. Let's move on. Let's do our next king. Are you guys ready? Okay, thank you, Aaron. I'm glad that it does bear some resemblance to him. Let's look at this next guy. This guy is a little bit more like kind of looking, I don't know, he's like a nutty professor or possibly like somebody who's completely out of their mind or power mad or has indigestion, but he's a bit more expressive. And this is, of course, the King of Sweden. He was known as Lex. Okay, well, that Lex, short for Alexander, makes sense. Okay, so let's move on to the King of Sweden. I think what struck me about this guy is what a long neck, a royal neck. So let's make sure we capture that neck and that jaw. Look at that jaw. That's a royal jaw. And he has glasses. Glasses always are interesting to draw because they help to frame the face. I mean, they help to sort of navigate around the face because you've got these glasses there. So long, yeah, this is not Alexander anymore. This is, I don't, does anybody know any Swedes out there or Swedophiles? Perhaps you can help us out with that. Help us to figure out what his deal is, what his name is at least. I'm not sure what his deal is. King of Sweden. Did you know that there was a king of Sweden? I can't say that I would have known. I mean, you think of Sweden as being like this super modern country in some ways, right? So it's a little bit surprising to hear that they have a king, I guess, but they are, I don't know. In fact, in the show I was talking about before, The Great, the King of Sweden is a character. Quite a character, in fact. Quite a character. So drawing a lot of faces it's a fun exercise because it helps you to really understand what are the essential things of a face, but also what are the particularities of individual faces, I mean, that's what's extraordinary about the human face and about our reaction to them, is that there are, it's basically one thing, but yet it has there's 9 billion versions of this thing right now on the planet, and we are so in tune with the variations that we can recognize a face from so far away. We can recognize it even when it changes, even when it has a hat on or changes its hairstyle or gets older. We are just so in tune to this thing, and that's one of the things that makes it difficult to do a portrait, is because it's so easy to be slightly off on one aspect of it, and then suddenly you've lost the likeness. And that's the key to that, honestly, is practice and slowing down. Clearly, I'm not slowing down here, but I am moving quickly. Too quickly for real likeness, but I'm still trying to create a person. I'm trying to create a guy who looks different from another guy. And that's again about the specifics. What are the specifics of a person? What are the things that make them them? Caricaturists are really good at that kind of stuff. Caricaturists. It's not like caricature. Yeah, caricaturists, they will find one or two features and they'll exaggerate them. So even though they're not accurate in the sense that they're that person doesn't really have a giant nose like that or whatever it is, they're still accurate in that they capture what makes that person distinct. And that comes from, again, I think, just paying attention in a way that that helps you to pull out the specifics of that person. He does look kind of like a red skeleton. Do you guys remember Red Skeleton? And then there was Red Buttons, of course, too. Might look kind of similar. Anyway, let's move on. That's part of the problem with drawing kind of boring people, is it's kind of boring. All right, so this guy is not technically a king exactly. He's the emperor of Japan. And I was just struck by his bow tie. And now, to be fair to him, this is, he might be at a formal event, and that's why he's wearing like a tuxedo, but still, there's something kind of dorky about that picture that I think is sort of kind of nice. that hair. The hair styling. Looks like a nice enough man. I don't really know much about the Japanese emperor. I mean, you really wouldn't think that guy was an emperor, right? I really don't think so. Imperial nose. Alfalfa, it's true. There's an alfalfa Schweitzer quality to him. With that slick down hair and and that bow tie. All right, let's move on. Next king. Please step down, Your Majesty. And now this guy I'm excited about. This is not an international drug lord, although maybe he is. I don't know much about him, but this is the king of Morocco. And he apparently is quite a fashion plate, fashionista. And he's always wearing like the coolest outfits. So, and not looking particularly royal. And it's funny, if you go and Google pictures of this guy, the King of Morocco, there's just like a lot of pictures with him standing around with other people, looking honestly a little disreputable. But I just thought it would be fun to draw this jacket, because that's a cool jacket. I don't know who the designer is behind it. Jen Cahill, any idea? Yeah, it's interesting. I guess the Moroccan people are fine with it. I mean, he's the king, so he can do whatever he wants. But yeah, he's quite a dude, and these pictures of him, he's always like this, like standing around with dark glasses and some pretty outrageous things. I mean, some of them might be traditional Moroccan stuff, but some of them are definitely like off the runway. Which is cool. I mean, I think it's nice to have a king who's expressing himself, being himself. I think that's a good example to set for your folks. You don't have to be uptight. You don't have to just wear super long ties all the time. You can actually go out and rock a super cool jacket with squiggly things on it. Our king, less interesting dresser. Despite how you feel about him, you've got to acknowledge that. He is not a fashion plate. I guess his wife is. It might be custom. You're right. It might be custom. But I do, from this very faint research that I did, it did say that he is, often seen in Fashion Week. He's a fan. Moving on. That's that king down. All right, here's a guy who looks like a king. Ready? Yep. He's either a king or a doorman. Let's say he's the king. Now, this is the king of Thailand. And I have to be careful because in Thailand, they are very touchy about their king. Like, you don't make fun of him. You don't do it. I was in Thailand, and everywhere you go, there are giant photos of this guy. And I asked my cab driver, what's the deal with the king? And he was like, yeah, nope, he's our king. Like, would not engage, would not say anything of any kind about him. He was a very chatty guy, my cab driver, but not when it came to the king. Not when it came to royal matters. He was like, yep, that's the king. And I guess that's good. I mean, at least within the realm of king, it's not a very modern liberal democracy kind of way of behaving, but his feeling was, he's our king, and so it is. Don't mess around with that. So I respected it. Didn't goad him on it. But this is more fun to draw. I mean, I will give, if you're going to have a king, the dude should show up and entertain you with his gear. What's the point otherwise? I want to see crowns. I want to see medals. I want to see sashes. I'd like to see some ermine robes. I'd like to see a scepter, maybe a royal carriage, all that stuff. I'm an English subject originally. I was born in England, and we haven't had a king in a long time. We have our queen, and she is, she occasionally turns out with the royal gear. A lot of times it's kind of disappointing. Hats and handbags, not quite as exciting as one would hope, but that's just the way it is. England has other problems besides that. Yeah, you see now the advantage of having all these art supplies? You can endlessly muck around with them. You can keep pulling out more and more stuff, messing around with it. So, okay, but now let's get real about this king. I'm avoiding the face because I'm so intrigued by the gear, but that's not correct. Got to give him his due. has lovely pink lips. It's a royal kisser. Thailand is a pretty cool place if you've never been there. I haven't been to that many places in Thailand. I've been to Bangkok. That was the main place that I spent my time because I was there on a business trip. So I didn't actually get to go and see all the cool beaches and all that stuff. Bali. I didn't see all that stuff. But Kosha, I know that you've been to Thailand a number of times. And the thing I liked about Thailand most memorably was going to see some Thai boxing. Went to a Thai boxing match, which was pretty amazing. In Bangkok, they have 3 different places, huge arenas where boxing occurs, and it happens, I think, every night of the week in one of the 3 places. They alternate between them, and each one of them has 20 bouts, maybe more, in a given night. Think about that. That much boxing. And it's like kickboxing, it's pretty intense. But they like their boxing there. All right, thank you, King. He has a very long and elaborate name, the King of Thailand. I wouldn't pretend to say it if I even could remember it. You're right, Bali is Indonesia. I sound like an ugly American. Yeah, whatever, it's over there somewhere. Bali, Indonesia, Thailand, Vietnam, same thing. All right, here we go. And our last king, and then we'll talk about this whole experience. You ready? Another cool king, right? Another king. He looks like a king. He'd probably be better with a beard. I think if he didn't have that gear on, though, he would look like a baker. A jolly baker. King of Norway. But he knows how to dress. He knows how to dress like a king. And for that, we give him props. I'm not sure how often he dresses like this. I'm not sure if this is like, gets up, throws on the sash, clips on the medals, goes down to watch Netflix. Think that's what's going on? Or is this just like, Norwegian Independence Day, Norwegian Royal. I don't know. Am I trying to do like a Norwegian accent now? It's not going over well. Got to have those epaulets. The scrambled eggs. That's what they call that in royal circles. I always wonder about this business of winning medals. Now, normally you win medals for like doing something really important and cool, right? Like you risked your life. And I'm sure that there were times when kings were on the battlefield, but honestly, is that really part of being a king these days? I mean, I guess a lot of them are, pilots and stuff like that, right? The British royal family, I forget who it is, Andrew maybe is a pilot. Whatever. When was the last time a king died in battle? But yet they get all these medals. Who do they get them from? And what do they get them for? That we don't know. At least I don't. He's got a jolly face, the King of Norway. Did you think you would be drawing the King of Norway when you woke up this morning? Probably not. But that's the endless thrill that is Draw With Me. It is a constant whirligig of surprises. This might be the best one so far. What do you think? It's pretty good. You know, I might have to send this to the Norwegian consulate and just say, look, I am ready to do the royal portrait if you want that. What do you think it's like to be a king? It seems like a troubling job. It doesn't seem like incredible fun these days. When you watch The Great, as I was discussing before, the Tsar, Peter, he's having a good time. But nowadays, I don't know. I don't know how much fun it is. It doesn't seem as much fun. All right, so there we have our 6 kings. Is that a royal flush? Might be. Is this Etro? Is that the name of the Thai king? Yeah. Etro. Sorry, I've not been following the conversation. I've been too busy drawing. I think that's my favorite one, though. I think the King of Thailand deserves a royal purple background. It's also the complement of those yellow epaulets, so that'll look nice. And what do we think about Morocco? What does he deserve? Orange. I might even leave it like that, yeah. I might leave the King of the Netherlands like that. The Swedish king just looked kind of pissed off. Slightly mad, slightly, eyes bulging. What, do you want me to take a picture again? Not again. That sounds more like the King of Greece. Who is another king, by the way? King of Greece, who I didn't deal with. I really just he was so boring. I mean, come on, Greece. The guy wasn't in a toga. He was just like in a cheap Banana Republic suit. And I thought, you know what, you're not getting the royal treatment from me. I think the ones that I'm the happiest with, if I need to rate them, are, I would say, Japan, Norway, and Morocco. Greece doesn't have a king? Really? Did I make that up? I saw a picture of a Greek king. I don't know. I'll take your word for it. I do not pretend to be an expert in such things. All right, well, there we go. We knocked out a bunch of kings. 6 kings in, I don't know, maybe 5 minutes per king. Yeah, see, this is the way to go. That was the way to draw him. This guy, I got caught up in his neck. I didn't even really get the neck. That one sort of, I don't know, there's something a little bit interesting about that guy. But yeah, that was fun. That was fun. So there we were. We were royal portrait painters. Pretty cool, right? That I hadn't really realized it when I first thought of this idea, but we are now tied to some of the greatest artists of all time. Royal portraitists. How many have there been? And now we number among them. So yeah, that was pretty cool. So if you have any suggestions for things for us to draw, we did animals for a couple weeks, and also I'm kind of liking these, trying to knock out 6 drawings in one session. I think that's pretty fun too, right? Yeah, that was great. So kings. Yes, the 6 boxes on a page system, as Cynthia says. 6 boxes. We've now done dogs, cats, and kings. We'll see what we do next time. Maybe dictators. Might get us into real trouble, though. Queens. I'm struggling with queens. But we can do them. Maybe that's the good thing to do. Coins. That's a good idea. Coins. Nobody's using coins right now. Do you know about this? So coins, because people are basically not using paper currency at all, at least in America, coins in particular, like nobody wants to handle them. And it's screwed up the way that the mint is working and how they keep coins in circulation. It's interesting. So I don't even know that we have any coins in the house. I don't know. But maybe we'll have to ship some over from New York. Currency. We've drawn dollar bills before, right? We all drew currency, but we could do that again. That would be fun, and we could do it in a different medium. We could make up stamps. That's kind of a fun thing to do, to like think of a thing you might want to commemorate with a stamp that isn't actually a stamp, and do that. Remember stamps? So yes, as far as would you like to share your kings? If you would, put them on social media, and here, put this, draw with me. Hashtag draw with me. Share it on Instagram, share it on Facebook, share it on Twitter, share it on, you could paint it on the side of a building and put your drawing next to it. You could send it to me via text. That's right, you can text me. Let's do it. You could put it on the schoolyard, probably the best place to do it. You could email it to me. You could not share it to me at all, fine. Whatever you want to do, but if you want to share it with others, there's just a million ways of doing it. Yes, as Carol suggests, send me your spare change. I'll destroy it. I'll return it. I'll send it back. No, don't, please. Unless you can send it to me via text. Drag queens. That's an interesting idea. Drag queens. I feel like a lot of times when I draw women, they look like drag queens anyway, which is, and actually when I draw kings, they sometimes do too. But yeah, drag queens could be cool. I don't want to be offensive though. So tell me what you think about that. Ted? Others? Is it a messenger that you text to? No, it's not a messenger. It's me. It's my, It's the phone number. Just text it, like anything. All right, so what else? What else can I tell you today? If you're in Taiwan, go out and buy How to Draw Without Talent. Oh, here's the thing. If you haven't already, you could sign up for our upcoming workshop. It's a really good one about color with Natalie Kalbach. If you don't know anything about color theory, or your color theory is rusty, or you don't really know how to apply it, or you'd like to do color better, check that out, because that's going to be a really fun workshop, and it's coming up pretty soon. Another thing is Danny's List. Boy, this is like a shopping list of things for you to do, but Danny's List is my weekly email essay that I send out. I'll be sending one out tomorrow. Send one out every Friday. I'm actually really impressed with myself that I have yet to miss a week of writing an essay to send to those people who have bothered to sign up for Danny's List. There's quite a number of them now. So if you go there, you can sign up for that, and I'll send you something. But there's a lot going on. It's amazing that I'm able to draw at all, given all these things that we're doing. Lakshmi Karuna from India. It's so nice to meet you. What else? New website. We will have a new we actually, come to think of it, are going to have a new website pretty soon. Yeah, that's pretty exciting, but I'll talk about that another time. Some of you, by the way, have texted me. Some of you write to me, and sometimes I send you videos. And I asked a bunch of people if they would be willing to make testimonial videos for me. And I wanted to ask you if you would be willing to do that. Would you be willing to make a short video, less than 30 seconds, let's say? Just pick up your phone and make a video that says you like what you feel about sketchbook school, and text it to me. It's that simple. Pretend that I'm one of your grandchildren. Pretend that I'm your boyfriend. Pretend that I am whoever you want me to be. And text me something. Text me a video in which you say, this is why, if you've never been to sketchbook school, you might want to consider doing it. So make a little video. Doesn't have to be anything artful. It's just turn on your camera, speak to it, turn it off, and send it to me. And if you do, then we can include it on our new website. Because what we're finding is people love to know what other people think about sketchbook school. And we have so many people who really like it, and maybe you're one of them. And so if you'd be interested in doing that, make a little video and send it to me. And if you do, I'll send you something nice back. I'm not sure what it's going to be. It might be a picture of a king. We'll see. But it'll be something. So yes, that is what we have on the docket. So, Mandy, goodbye. Some of you others are sneaking out of the room, putting your coats on while I'm still talking, but it doesn't really matter. That's cool. It was really nice to see you today, and I hope to see you again next Thursday, and we'll think of something else to do that's fun. Drawing is fun, now more than ever. Gather up your art supplies, we'll plunge in, we'll figure out something cool to make, we'll draw together, and it'll be a great time. Okay, thanks for joining me today. I look forward to seeing you again